And welcome. We're getting close to St. Patrick's Day, so we've got to talk about whiskey, right? My guests are Damien Cashman, who is from Ireland, and Troy Stuckey. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having us.
They happen to have a mobile pub called the Rambling Inn. All right, so let's show a couple of pictures first to kind of whet your appetite. So there's the pub, and then there's another picture.
In all its glory. Yep.
In all of its glory.
Yeah.
And the next picture, stacked with lots of liquors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of whiskeys.
Dancing incentives.
Dancing, yes. All right, so how did this come about, you guys?
So yeah, the Rambling Inn is, I guess it's been a work in progress for a couple of years. I was doing a lot of consultancy work for a lot of the whiskey companies.
In Ireland?
No, in the
Here?
States.
Okay.
And I would travel around to non-traditional Irish bars, restaurants and retail. And everybody would say to me, God, wouldn't it be great if you know, we love your pitch on the whiskey and we love all the education, but why don't you have an Irish pub with you? Wouldn't it be great to sample it in an Irish pub? So this went on for 6, 7, 8 months, and finally I was having a pint of Guinness with Troy, and I was like, you know what? I think we need to build a mobile Irish pub. But you think it would work? And he's like, I don't know if it'll work, but I'll build it. So that's
really? So you didn't even need convincing, Troy?
No.
We didn't.
You said let's do it.
Well, the Guinness convinced them, I think, you know.
So you're friends for a long time, or how did you meet?
We've been friends for about 10 years. We've been, yeah.
All right. So then, so what, you say to him, well, what are we going to make it out of?
We went back and forth with this for a while. So how we were going to make it, what we were going to make it out of, and we ended up settling on using an old camper that we found a great deal on.
Where did you find it?
Craigslist. Where else would you find a camper?
Of course,
we find
Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
So you find a camper and then you retrofit it.
We gutted it down to the frame and started over. I just thought it would be the best way to go to get it to our true vision, what we wanted. So.
All right, so let's go to the videotape, as they say, so you can see what they built.
The Rambling Inn is a full mobile Irish pub we came up with after a couple drinks and a pub.
At the time I was working for a lot of the whiskey companies doing whiskey consultancy work. In a non-traditional Irish whiskey account, they'd say, wish you had an Irish pub with you. I went to my buddy Troy and said, you know what, I think there's a market for a travelling Irish pub. We drew it out in a napkin, and then Troy took on the tremendous task of putting it together and building it for me, you know.
We got a killer deal on this trailer that was in horrible shape. We saw something amazing that we could build from it. 9
months of our lives building it from scratch. We literally just crafted this into our own vision of what we thought an Irish pub, a travelling Irish pub, should be.
We had gone back and forth with how we were going to treat the floor, and I had the idea just to go and throw sawdust out on the floor. And it was supposed to be a temporary thing, and after the first event, it was the one thing everyone kept commenting on.
So we do everything from building it to going out to the events, setting it up, to actually bartending, working the events.
So we bought an old trailer and tore it down to the frame, and we have this little piece of Ireland right now. When you're inside of it, it really feels like you're inside of a pub.
There you go.
How much do I love that? You threw sawdust on the floor, which makes it even better.
Yeah. It does, very authentic.
So the first season you've had it out there how many years?
So we're going into year 2 right now.
Year 2.
Yep.
So you get it out there, and what happens? You go to weddings, where do you go?
So weddings, bar mitzvahs, wedding rehearsals, communions, baptisms, funerals.
Birthday parties.
We have experienced everything, and it's, as Troy will state, you know, it's really funny when we bring the pub like into somebody's back garden or driveway or wherever we end up. People just don't want to leave. Like, they literally at the end of the night, they're like, you have to stay, and they're like throwing money, like, just, it's ridiculous.
They throw money at you. Is it everything you thought it would be? Or, I mean, business is never a straight line. It kind of goes all over the place.
Yeah.
So what is happening that you thought would happen?
Not this at all. It was one of those things where we had this idea, and where it was going to go was kind of like unknown. You know, there was no roadmap for how to build a mobile pub. And the biggest thing, like Damien said, is that people feel unbelievably comfortable in their own home, but they're in a pub, and they lose sight of that, and it kind of blurs that line, which is an amazing thing to watch happen over the course.
So are you playing music in there? I mean, how do you set up?
Yeah, so typically we'll have like Irish music playing, but oftentimes people ask us to source Irish musicians. So we're lucky enough, we have a great network of bagpipers, traditional Irish players, modern Irish players. But the one key thing is, you know, we try to model the Rambling Inn on the pubs I kind of grew up in Ireland. So, you
what
know,
town?
Tipperary. Yeah.
Okay, because people live.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, Troy was just back there this summer with me, and he can attest that, you know, we just try to get like all the bits and pieces that people loved about Irish pubs and put it into this travelling unit.
So I want to know typically what you serve inside the mobile pub. So I know you serve Irish coffee.
Absolutely,
and this is great because it's Willoughby's Coffee, which is local, New Haven. We love that. Now tell me about the 2 whiskeys.
So we take
that
a
we
lot,
have right
yeah, we take a lot of pride in a lot of the liquor we source on the Rambling Inn. So this is a boutique brand from Ireland. It's called Clonakilty. It's a distillery in the Wild Atlantic Way down in West Cork.
Have you been there to this distillery?
I've been at the distillery last week. It's just opened. So yeah, they just started making their own distillate about a week ago.
And this is new to the U.S.,
This
yes?
is new to the U.S., yeah. March 1st, it'll be in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Mass. It's in New York currently.
And this one is?
So this is the single batch. This is the same product, except this one is aged and finished in a virgin oak cask, while this one, while it's a little darker, is aged in a port cask, fortified wine.
You know, I don't know the difference, but at some point I'm going to figure it out.
One makes you sing and one makes you dance.
I love that. Now, you pointed out these glasses to me.
Yeah.
These are very interesting. This is from this company?
It's not. It's actually, this company partnered up with this gal who owns this company. This is called a Tua glass.
Yep.
So this is the...
And I'm going to put this in here so you can show people what this glass does.
There you go.
All right, show people what that does.
Yeah, so it sits right on the side. So for measuring out your pour, if it goes right to the nip, you know you have enough, maybe a second pour. So yeah, it sits beautifully like that, but it's designed so it noses.
So it breathes.
Yeah, exactly. So it hits your nose, you know,
Let me do
transfuses a lot of the ethanol, and all you get is like all that pure, all that ripeness, all that fresh dried fruit.
I'm not a connoisseur at all, but there's...
That's okay.
What's in... There's raisin...
So on the taste on this, because it's actually finished in a port cask, you're going to get a lot of dried fruit. It's almost like marzipan, almost like that Christmas cake dried fruit on the finish. Yeah, it's quite a complex, well-balanced whiskey, but it's one of the ones we love to showcase on the Rambling Inn. Again, because it's small, it's family size, it's from a distillery in Ireland, 8 successive generations, all their own farmland, kind of like us. They're just, you know, doing their thing, you know. So we're happy to feature them. Yeah.
Well, that's terrific. Are you the bartender? Are you both the bartenders, Troy?
We both bartend.
Bartender, barback.
Yeah, we kind of
driver,
everything. Driver,
set it up.
Logistics.
Logistics, getting it into some pretty tight spaces.
How did you learn how to bartend? Did you go to school, or you just know?
No, just this guy.
Yeah.
You know that too?
Yeah, I bartended for years from Ireland over this side as well. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, so show me some of the magic, some of the stuff that you.
So yeah, so this is an Irish coffee. So the Irish coffee originally was started from Foynes Airport, which is now Shannon Airport in Ireland. Started in the 1940s, actually has an American influence in it.
I did not know that.
So there was a flight coming across from the States, transatlantic flight, 1940s. At that time, there was no heating on planes, so everybody was like frozen on the plane. The plane ended up getting into a little bit of engine trouble. Now, the plane was divided between priests and journalists. So the priests started playing like mad. Finally, the plane arrived in Foynes, and all the journalists got off the plane. Now, you being a journalist yourself, you know that one thing journalists likes is a good story and an even better drink, right?
Well, sometimes, yeah.
So they ran.
And this is a true story?
This is a true story. So a guy who was syndicated in the 1950s here in the States, his name was Stan Delaplane. And he actually was like 13 or 14 different newspapers he wrote for. And he actually went to the bartender, and the bartender made him what was known as Gaelic coffee. Translated to over here, an Irish coffee. He was enamored by it, so much so that when he returned back to the States, he wrote an article, and the article was published all over the US, which really in turn made the Irish coffee very, very famous. He then in turn was a regular in this bar in San Francisco called the Buena Vista, which is now it's a tremendous bar. You got to check it out. They make about 17 to 1800 Irish coffees a day.
Buena Vista.
The Buena Vista. Yeah, you can check it out online. It's amazing.
I have a lot of homework to do.
It all sourced from a journalist having a little Irish coffee in Foynes Airport, which has become Shannon Airport. So we can thank the American audience for our Irish coffee.
Yay.
There you go.
So work your magic. Get in here, Troy. So however you guys do this.
So typically what we'll do is we'll put in a little bit of sugar just to start.
And do you serve it in a glass like this?
We always serve it in these glasses.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely, isn't it?
So what went in there? I'm sorry.
So just about a spoon of sugar went in there.
Okay.
We'll use some Clonakilty Irish whiskey.
You don't hold back on that, do you?
You know what? You're right. It's a big glass. There we go. And then we add some sugar. Sorry, some coffee. Go right to the top. Now what happens with this is the sugar will actually let the cream float on top.
So don't stir it.
So, well, we should actually give it a stir, but we don't.
Wait, I have a pen.
Oh, Anne, I can't believe you're doing this.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, okay, here
there we go.
Yeah. I mean, you have to stir it somehow.
That's it.
Welcome to the newsroom.
There you go. And then you float your Irish cream right over the top.
Now, why on the back of the spoon?
It just helps it float. You see the way you get that nice transition between the coffee and that?
Yeah.
And then you finish it with a little bit of fresh nutmeg. like that. Let me know what you think.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
No,
from
I'm
one
just- I'm just
journalist
gonna-
to
Yeah, I'm
another.
just going to stick my finger in it because we're on TV. Oh my gosh, that is
fantastic,
so
right?
good.
Yeah,
Someone's going to be very jealous of this in the newsroom.
So yeah, so that's our Irish coffee as we would do on the Rambling Inn.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So when you come out for one of these events and you set up, the sky's the limit, right? If somebody says, we want you to pack the Rambling Inn with this kind of booze or this kind of, I mean, do you just, or is it all?
Yes, so there's a couple of factors. You know, we also have a full kitchen as well, so we have the ability to do like shepherd's pie, Guinness stew, fish and chips. So we do food as our primary goal. Secondly, then we'll curtail, you know, depending on what your preference is, we'll source like local breweries. We'll deal with Two Roads, we'll Tribus Beer in Milford, Counterweight, our friends over in New England Brewing, we'll bring all those guys on board. So we have a full tap system, so we're always happy to like
It's a full
suggest, yeah, everything from the music to the food to the drinks, you name it. And we can do parties from like intimate parties from 20, 25 people all the way up to like, we've done festivals and events up to 1,000 people.
But always outside.
Always outside.
Always
well,
outside.
That's not true, as Troy can attest to.
We've actually been up to the casino a couple times for whiskey events.
Did you
inside.
drive
We drove into the
Rambling
center.
Inn into the casino?
Into
Yes,
Mohegan
into
Sun.
Mohegan
Into
Sun.
Mohegan Sun.
Into the
Where?
convention.
Downstairs in one of the ballrooms?
Yes, the ballroom last year and this past year, the new convention center they
That
built.
must have been a riot.
Yeah.
Was that for a private party or?
It was for the whiskey tasting that they were doing, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's so neat.
Yeah, so
I
it's
love that.
great exposure and people loved it.
Who does the cooking? Do you guys cook too?
So we have a chef on hand as well. We just cooking we don't. We deal with the driving, the logistics, the drink, the cleaning up, and making sure everybody has a good time. Sometimes you have to delegate, so we delegate the cooking, yeah.
So you really figured this out in what is your second year?
Yeah, well, not figured out yet, but we're still working, evolving every day, but you know.
We learn every day. Every time we do an event, we learn something. And
What's the best experience you've had so far with the Rambling Inn?
our first one, I would say, the
And
first
what
party
was
we
it?
did. It was a birthday party. It was I think a 50th birthday party, and it was.
It was a
40th.
40th.
40,
yeah,
50,
40th, yeah,
whatever.
sorry.
Yeah.
And it was the first time we had taken it out for a paid event, and
Were you frightened? Like, how's this gonna go?
where we had to get it into the location we had to get it into, it was a very tight spot, and it was raining, so there was a lot of other factors that we just weren't prepared for, and we nailed it. And we ended up staying there until almost 2 in the morning. It was a great time.
And you high-fived each other
That
and
was it.
said,
The party was
We
meant to
did
end
it.
at 11.
It was supposed to end at 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
awesome.
we got through it. So that was probably the best one. And then they've all gotten better. We've made lots of friends along the way. People we still stay in contact with, because you leave as friends. That's what happens when you leave an Irish bar anyway.
duh, go to a pub,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that's what happens.
Yep.
Damien and Troy, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, Anne.
Ramblingin.com, and we'll enjoy this later. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
you.
very much.
Made a trivial pursuits when one they send. Who is this girl I spend all night kissing? And if one was right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked to find myself wishing to find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store of my mind. Just to save time, skip right ahead to the last ride.